Dope Thief Episode 4, Philadelphia Lawyer, peels back more layers of several supporting characters' backstories as Ray continues to dig himself a deeper hole. Not only does Ray have a dangerous kingpin and leader of a white nationalist biker gang looking for him, but the DEA is also closing in after his and Manny's catastrophic robbery. Halfway through Dope Thief Season 1, it's become increasingly compelling to contemplate whether Ray is a good man in a terrible situation or if he is a corrupt individual heavily influenced by his corrupt environment. There's no question that the people close to Ray have all felt how he has brought trouble and nonsense into their lives. This is even felt in Sun Fam's apparent idyllic family life, having to cut down 2 of his dogs from his backyard swing set that were killed by the bikers before his arrest by the DEA. Ray also pushes Manny's fiancée Sherry away from him, thinking that he's protecting both of them. Ray's plight is spiraling into a comedy of errors that appears to be heading towards a tragic conclusion. Dope Thief Episode 4 introduces the most unhinged character of the series so far in Cyrus, who adds an explosive element of excitement to Dope Thief's cast. His inclusion certainly makes things more tense and entertaining, even if his unstable ramblings of philosophy are more frightening than enjoyable. Characters like these in Dope Thief make it feel like the series wants us to be uncomfortable but also slightly fearful at all times, which is exactly how Ray and Manny feel by the end of the episode. Dope Thief continues to up the stakes in wildly tense and surprising ways. The unpredictable nature of the series is its strongest aspect. Brian Tyree Henry as Ray standing outside a prison in Dope Thief. Many of the scenes in Dope Thief Episode 4 are more grave and tense than previous episodes, which makes sense as Ray and Manny freefall from the aftermath of their potentially fatal error from Dope Thief's first 2 episodes. What began as a comedy-drama hybrid has solidified into a more stressful and tragic display of 2 incredibly desperate friends who can't seem to catch a break. Manny holding the life grenade at the end of Dope Thief Episode 4 was initially funny and absurd, but as the scene plays out, it's quite harrowing and bleak. The unpredictable nature of Dope Thief is one of the strongest aspects of the series. The surprising plot twists, most notably the surprise shootout incited by an insane clown posse donning Molotov cocktails, are downright absurd with a wonderfully thrilling effect. These developments may seem random and somewhat confusing, but I think they establish a fantastic level of chaotic uncertainty that naturally keeps us interested in what on earth could happen next. While these twists and turns diverge from the central story, they haven't quite sprawled into a narrative that has lost control of its own plot. I fear that Dope Thief could head in that direction in its latter half if Episode 5 doesn't grasp the reins a bit. The DEA storyline acts as a consistent and more straightforward backbone to the series, even if it does provide some of its dullest moments. Still, they're necessary for us to catch our breath after several back-to-back WTF moments of sheer chaos. Dope Thief's key supporting characters will make or break the series. The bright Michelle Taylor is a great foil to Ray's hopelessness. Brian Tyree Henry in Dope Thief. Dope Thief Episode 4 has expanded the narrative arcs of several supporting characters, most notably Mina and Sun Fam. These figures broaden the scope of the Apple series, which was initially marketed as a dynamic duo of its lead talent, Wagner Moura and Brian Tyree Henry. With Mina and Sun Fam gaining their own stories outside the context or attachment of Manny and Ray, their development will likely have a major effect on the whole of the series as we progress into the latter half. Mina wants revenge, while Sun Fam may choose to rat Ray out to save himself. It's becoming increasingly clear, especially through Manny's instability and drug addictions, that Ray doesn't really have anyone he can count on. This is why another supporting character, the Philadelphia lawyer Michelle Taylor, is such a great foil to Ray's desperate and hopeless character. Despite her aptitude and talents, Michelle is willing to put herself out on a limb for Ray, which may end up having fatal consequences. At the midpoint of Dope Thief, I'm hoping that Episode 5 will tighten its narrative after an expansive and chaotic Episode 4. The relationship between Ray and Michelle could build into a Bonnie and Clyde partnership of sorts, as it appears that Michelle has caught feelings for Ray in his darkest hour. It would be great to see Manny get a grip on his addiction and face the reality of his situation with Ray head-on. So far, he's been a troubling portrait of addiction. As for Ray, he is not only the captain of a sinking ship but the ship itself. While I'm rooting for him, it will take more than good luck and bailouts to get out of his predicament in Dope Thief.